1, 2, 3, go! Hello everyone, this is Sam Car Region. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another comparison. Today we're going to compare the 2021 Hyundai Elantra N-Line against the top trim N-Line, the Ultimate, which is what it's called in Canada. In the States they use different name, but it's technically the fully loaded one. Now, what is the goal for today's video? We're going to find out if the N-Line, it's worth its badge, and if you should get it over a standard engine that is offered in the Ultimate package. Is it that fast? Does it feel faster? Because Hyundai says that this is like their spicier version of the Elantra. There is the Sonata N-Line, and then there is the Elantra N-Line. I'm assuming Hyundai soon will expand the N-Line division by providing people with some fast performance-driven vehicles. The first one was I believe the Veloster, and that had a full N-Line package. Now they're introducing into the Sonata, and then of course the Elantra. I have done a review on the new Elantra against the older generation. If you want to find that video, the link will be in the description box. And of course, we're going to talk about these two today. Special thanks goes to our great friends at Aurora Hyundai, a Hyundai dealership located in Aurora, Ontario, Canada, for allowing me to borrow both for today's video. And if you want to find out more about them, the link will be in the description box. But most importantly, just because you're watching this video, you can get a promotion or a discount in their model lineup just by clicking that link below. This is just provided to my viewers from Hyundai Aurora. So let us begin with this comparison. The first thing you need to know is that the Elantra Ultimate fully loaded, of course, will cost you more compared to that model over there. So for example, the Ultimate starts at about $28,000. Meanwhile, the standard N-Line starts at about $26,000 or so. So you're paying more for the Ultimate because you receive more features. And we're going to talk about that as well. But the first thing you need to know is the exterior design features. So let's start talking about what's different with this model. So if we get closer, let me show you the bottom part. If you look at the bottom on the right side of the standard Elantra, the bumper is different. This has a more aggressive line. Looking at that side over here, more extended out. Meanwhile, the actual front lip in there, it's extended further, but it doesn't look as aggressive. And most importantly, you have the N-Line badge in the front, the beautiful headlights, and the next thing is, of course, the actual grille. Because you see, the grille is all blacked out, but it also changes a bit of a shape, and it is a bit extended further. And then you have the bottom part over here, which again, it is more aerodynamic friendly compared to this standard, which is just a thin line all the way through. It has a more blacked out area compared to the model over here. And most importantly, you get, of course, a more aggressive design overall. The headlights remain very much the same. It's a nice looking vehicle, the N-Line. The wheels are different as well. So if we come on this side, if you look carefully, we have beautiful wheels on this side, and then this is just the standards. The wheel cap in here with this design, it's extended out, give it a more performance look. Nice, beautiful looking wheel, and it has this part on this area to give it a more aggressive design. And you have the N-Line badge on the side, so you know this is the N-Line. The next thing you're going to notice is the side skirt, which is extended further out. But if you look at this one here, it doesn't have any. So that's another design feature in this model, all the way through. Beautiful design, and give it a more performance look. The actual mirrors are very much the same for both models, so nothing changes in there. So let's move in the back here, and let me show you. As you can see, there is, of course, more difference in here. This is where they have gone a bit crazy and added a lot more features. The first thing you'll notice is this part here, the trunk spoiler, which blacked out. Again, performance looking. Just want to make it interesting. And the diffuser at the bottom Again, it has this shark fin lines all the way through, and then it has the triangle, which is supposed to go like a brake light in there. Now, if we jump into the Elantra, the standard model, you don't get all that. Things change a little bit. You actually don't even see the exhaust in here at the bottom. The exhaust is completely hidden, but it is extended all the way through, and you don't get those shark fin lines on the diffuser. And of course, you're missing the sport spoiler at the top. Now, pay attention to this. The full tail light all the way through. That looks standard, right? Look, all the beautiful red, and of course the reverse lights as well. Nothing changes in there. Now, let's jump in there. Let me show you something I saw in here. So, first of all, they share very similar design features, but the overall, they share the shape. What most important is that look at the blacked out area all the way through to this side, the full tail light. So the tail light all the way around it has the blacked out lines and more aggressive features in here. There's like 3 lines to show you that this is just a bit different compared to the standard N-Line. So things remain very much the same in terms of this area. You still got that Elantra lettering at the back in the trunk, but things change when it comes to the exhaust, the diffuser, the spoiler, the tail lights, and so on. And even the actual tail lights in here are sort of blacked out a little bit. So if you think about the BMW 3 Series, very similar to that. Now let me start it up for you so you can hear it, how it sounds in different modes. The next thing we're going to talk about is the most important one, which is, of course, the engine specs. And let's start first with this. So this uses a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. It is a front-wheel base, and most importantly, it uses a dual clutch transmission. It makes 201 brake horsepower. It is quite impressive what you can get out of a small engine this size. This is still a Smart Stream JDI, but it's a turbo version. On this side, we have a front wheel base, of course, and it uses 4-cylinder engine, and it makes about 147 horsepower, uses a standard automatic transmission. You can also pick a manual transmission option as well, a 6-speed. For today's video, both vehicles have automatic transmission. The only difference is that this offers the DCT with this package. So next thing, let's talk about the interior. So the interior, well, things change a bit here too. Most importantly, the actual steering wheel has this nice paddle shifters. It's a nice and grippy steering wheel, and you have the red stitches around and the N-Line. You still get the adaptive cruise control as you would in the standard one, but you're missing some safety features. And most importantly, you don't have a full digital cluster in here, just the standards, but it's more sporty rather than just the standard digital cluster, and it has that, you know, checker flag on the RPM to give you a performance feeling experience inside. Then you have the N badge located on top of the gear knob. The gear knob in here is different from the standard one that you see in the Elantra Ultimate. It is this nice gear shifter. Absolutely love that. Now you're missing auto hold options in here. You're missing some of the features in the standard in the N-Line compared to that model. In the Ultimate, you get power handbrakes in here. It's a manual handle, kind of like give you a performance feeling, I'm assuming. You're also missing the wireless charging pad as well. You do get heated seats in here and heated steering wheel as well. And most importantly, the driver's side seat, it's actually manually adjustable, and the same thing for the passenger. Meanwhile, in the Elantra Ultimate, you get power seats on the driver's side. The steering wheel is what I love about this. In terms of the driving modes, so in the standard Elantra, you have the driving modes located into the center. In here is located right into this area. And then you press that button, you go normal, sport, smart, and so on. So you get a bit of that difference on design, but in terms of the infotainment system, you're still getting the same thing, and you have reverse backup camera, but you don't have any parking sensors around it compared to the fully loaded Elantra. Now, the infotainment screen, it's actually smaller as well. It's not the big size that you'd get in that vehicle, but it is of course touchscreen, and you connect your Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Meanwhile, the climate unit, it is of course dual climate unit zone in the front for both sides, as you have a rear windshield heated, of course. Now, in terms of the design here, it does feel like a bit of a performance, of course. It has like red stitches, just a little design here and there. The steering wheel is very much like a full performance vehicle, I'd say. That's what they're trying to go with this. But if you look into that model, the standards Elantra, things are not as exciting as here, I'd say. In terms of the sunroof, you get a sunroof as well. In here, similar to that, it is not powered for the sunshade. You have to manually adjust it. The rear back doesn't get any love at all, like you just get standard seats. And in the front, we get a lightning port and a USB port as well. So in terms of the interior, you're missing some of the things in here, but you're getting power. You don't get any power handbrake, brake hold as well. Things like that are missing in that. But of course, you're paying less for more horsepower. I'm not sure if that makes any sense. Anyways, let's go for a test drive and let's see how this thing feels compared to that model. I've also driven that multiple times. I'll include some of my thoughts about that vehicle specifically, but we want to find out if the N-Line it's worth its badge, because as you can see, has a lot of like little details to make it look like performance. So let's go for a drive. We're not going to put it in sport mode first. Just want to drive it in normal mode, and then we can have some fun. It's so freaking cold today. Anyways. Oh, even in normal mode. Nice. It definitely has a bit of a power kick, that's for sure. Sport transmission, and oh, here we go. See, in the standard one, the actual driving mode is right in the center. Okay, so you can't change the driving mode in sport transmission, so you got to put it in drive, and then change the driving mode, and then put it into sport mode. Oh. Nice. Okay, so let's put into manual mode. Okay, low speed. It has a bit of a kick. I like that. Ooh, quick shifting, that's for sure. Quick shifting. Okay, let's downshift to, okay, slow down a bit. Into second. Go, oh. Go. Wow. Okay, that's very impressive. Compared to that model, the standard automatic transmission, this is actually quick. It feels quick. Downshift again. Hammer it. Go. Oh, I love it. Yeah, there is definitely a difference. There is a difference in terms of the transmission and the engine working together. It shifts quickly, it revs high, that's for sure, but it's responsive when you need it, especially in manual mode. You could be driving this the entire time in manual mode. I've driven the dual clutch transmission used in Kia Seltos, which is technically the same transmission. It's not very different. The dual clutch, it's probably used across the Kia and Hyundai platforms, but this, it's definitely quite interesting. There is definitely a difference between this and the standard model. Wow. Okay. I'm actually impressed. I thought the difference would be very small, but it's that engine, the transmission together, it's there. Now let's talk about the actual suspension system. It feels slightly stiffer in here compared to that model. This, you can notice the potholes on the roads. When you drive over some areas, like bumpy areas, you notice there's a bit of a stiffness in here. But it's not a 180-degree difference. It's about, say, about 30% difference in terms of the stiffness. The steering wheel actually gets very stiff here in sport mode compared to that in sport mode. I like this. I think it's the car that some people need, that requires some performance, but without breaking the bank. That's just the way I see this. I see this car going up against other vehicles in a drag race and potentially win because of that transmission. The only disappointing part about this vehicle is the fact that you don't enjoy a launch control as much. And I've tried a few times to do it with a full launch control and it still wouldn't go. I turn off the traction. It doesn't like to launch in certain modes. It doesn't like to do a full hard launch. That's one thing I noticed with this. It reminded me very much of the Kia Stinger, which didn't like the full takeoff at all. It didn't like that hard launch. And I think potentially the reason they have done that is to eliminate any damages to the transmission, because maybe it's not able to take that launch like a standard automatic transmission, especially if you put a turbocharged engine in it and more horsepower. It's something that I think this doesn't like very much. In terms of everything else, this has remained very much the same as the standard Elantra. As I said, you're missing some of the tech features in here, and of course, no digital cluster, none of that in this model. You're just getting the standards. 1, 2, 3, go! Oh man, that thing just took off. Into sports, make sure it's not in reverse. Okay, here we go. So we're gonna go slowly. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go! Oh, come on! Oh Jesus, that N-Line took off. Nice, nice. That was very good. That Elantra N-Line took off. The problem with that car is that it doesn't like to be launched right away. Like this will take off. We have both in sport modes. That doesn't rev high. This revs at like past 2,000. That won't go above 2,000 RPM. That's the only thing with that car. But when it gets going, it gets going. Anyways, let me know what you thought about this. Thanks for watching, guys. And special thanks goes to our good friends at Aurora Hyundai for allowing me to borrow both of them and show you what they're all about. Stay safe. Cheers.